guys, I am joined by Lex. Lex, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Thanks for having me on here, Ash. Been watching all these episodes. Love them. Love them.
Love that, man. I'm so excited to get you on because, as I probably said in every single podcast thus far, this is like an excuse to catch up with people in a weird way, especially in our industry where everybody's always so busy. So thank you so much for taking the time out, man.
Don't give me that. You just wanted to get somebody on here that was actually older than you.
Dude, you've got me by, I think, less than a year. So it's very close.
It's probably pretty close.
It's very close. It's very close. I want to go right into it, man. Right into it. First of all, Lex has been covering Brawl Stars, previously Clash Royale, for almost 7 years. If I have my facts right here, you blew up when Brawl Stars went global, over 1 million subscribers. Thrilled to have you on. I've known you since you were a little peewee covering Clash Royale, my man. Great guy. I've always felt, this is like kind of a weird way to start the chat, but I've always felt like kind of kindred spirits a little bit with you, even though we don't talk a heck of a lot, like we're not chilling all the time, but I feel like whenever you put something out, I'm like, yeah, that resonates with me, like I kind of get that vibe,
That may be because of our age, honestly.
It might be.
Because our personalities and temperament is that's not super modern generation. We get how it is growing up through the 80s and whatnot. So
I heard you on OJ's podcast talking about how you were basically living off $25 a week, living with your mom, living with your siblings as well. The next question that came to my mind is, now that you're successful, in terms of on YouTube, how has that formed your relationship with money, growing up without it and now having a decent amount of it?
Interesting. Honestly, I don't really care about money. Maybe it's because I grew up with none of it, and so
neither do I. How about that?
I think that people. Here's how it works in my experience. When you're broke, money is everything. It's like, bro, if I could just have X amount of dollars, then I'd be happy. Or that number always gets higher, but
it does.
The real thing is that if you don't have enough money to pay your bills, or like, oh, should I pay the gas bill this month or the electric? That's when money's important. But once you can pay all of that stuff comfortably, more money doesn't really make you any happier. And I thought it would. I really thought it would. And then I'd get someone like, oh, look at my bank account. I'm like, bro, I got some money in there. And that's kind of fun for a minute. But after a while, it's just like, life's still just the same. It's like, whatever, Yeah. It's weird. Money's weird. I think that it means a lot until you are comfortable. Then it doesn't mean very much.
It's so true, man. It's so true, because I was always hustling, and I was always, it's just your mindset, right? It's like, if I could just have like 1,000, if I could find a way to get 1,000 extra dollars a month, or if I could just save, $20,000, I would be good for, and then inevitably you do that and you realize that there's just that next hurdle, that next step. And it doesn't, I've said this before, but it's just like, to your point, if you can pay your bills, if you can provide the necessities to your family, after that, it just doesn't correlate with quality of life. And it takes a while for that to sink in, because I would have been pissed at myself for saying this 20 years ago right now, but it actually took me being here. And this is super anecdotal and stuff, but look at celebrities, man. They get depressed, they get sad, they get they even worse sometimes, they deal with addiction, they deal with everything that everybody else deals with. But they have all the money in the world, and it still doesn't really matter, because there's no correlation there. So I grew up kind of similar, in a way to you. We rented, my family, just like my parents just worked their asses off to just provide the minimum, for us. And I have a similar outlook now that it's nice to be able to buy nice things for my kids or whatever, but at the end of the day, it hasn't really changed anything. I don't look at it as, yeah.
I think that you can probably relate to a couple things here. Yeah. One, growing up poor gives you the perspective of, if you were to go broke next week, Ash,
yes,
you could still make it. Because you know what? You've lived poor before. You know how to do it. It's not like the world is just ended. It's like, oh yeah, I'm poor again. Well, I know how to do this, and you get on with life. Where people, if you've always had money, maybe you wouldn't know how to do that. But also, and I think that this is pretty cognizant fact, is that even though we were really poor growing up, like Section 8 housing, food stamps. My mom would clean a barbershop for $25 a week, and that's what we lived off of because my parents got divorced when I was real young. And we didn't have anything, but I had a happy childhood. Like
Yeah.
I was not like, we were poor, but I was happy. Like money didn't matter to me really. I didn't even realize we were poor until I was probably in like middle school when I started getting picked on and made fun of for like, having old crappy clothes and whatnot,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was still happy. I had a happy childhood, even though I was dirt poor.
Same, man. Same. It's like the same story. Maybe a little bit better off, but like I would have to wait, I don't know, 6 months to a year to get like a little tiny toy. And now it's just like my kid, I'll just like buy him a toy, whatever, Right. But it still meant the world to me. And to your point, it's so funny how kids, and when I say kid, I'm not talking about like 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm talking about like 8, 9, 10, 11. I still didn't realize. I was just like, this is great. Life is cool. Go outside and play all day.
Yep,
and there it is,
exactly.
I want to take an interesting pivot. There's no easy pivot on this one. But I have so many questions for you. So I'm just going to go kind of a little bit train of thought here, man. And that's Brawl Stars. So I was telling you a little bit off air, but I saw like a little bit of, I don't know if drama is the right word, but Kairos quitting Reddit, which I want to get your opinions on as well. But that actually led me to, things aren't going that well in Brawl Stars. And for someone who covered Clash Royale for years and years, I always thought that Brawl Stars, you guys knew what was up, right? You had the best team in Supercell, no offense to anybody else. But I mean, Frank and Danny, they're all out there every day, like talking to everybody. And I just remember like thousands of comments throughout the years, like, I bet you wish you had the Brawl Stars dev team, And then I get word, that people are kind of upset with the game or whatever. So what is the state of the game right now? How bad is it?
First off, we still have the best Supercell team. That's what it is. But it's not that bad. Like it's not level 15 in Clash Royale is what I'm saying.
Okay. I was gonna say both because you commented.
We haven't reached apocalypse state yet.
Okay.
No, there was a few things that were definitely not popular with some players this past update. That's for sure. But I don't think that they were as bad as some people think. Like, okay, so for instance, Hypercharge, people thought it was going to be crazy broken. It's not really that crazy broken. It's actually pretty decent. I think that it could have been more. It could have been better, but it's not bad. They increase like level stats between each level, and that I honestly don't like. I don't think that that's good. But it kind of it is what it is. Like you don't play Brawl Stars, so for instance,
I don't.
A level 1 brawler is 50% weaker than a max level brawler. Well, they changed that now to where it's 100%. For every level, you get 10% more rather than 5%. So it just makes it to where everybody who's not leveled up to max, well, you're at an even bigger disadvantage, which in my opinion hurts, a lot of the non-paying players.
Yeah.
Brawl Stars has always been really friendly to free-to-play players.
It has.
So I didn't like that, and there's a lot of people who didn't like that other. And there's some other smaller gripes in there too, but I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people are making it out to be.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's a very sober look at it, and it's good to hear. My next question was going to be, and now it sounds like I already know the answer, but my next question is going to be, as someone whose livelihood depends on the success of Brawl Stars, are you scared about the future of Brawl Stars?
Well, I think that you can probably attest to this. Anybody who's got a YouTube channel that's stuck in a certain niche, you're always scared about that niche going away, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because that's your entire family's livelihood.
Yeah.
And, so there's always, there's always that fear in the back of my mind that, bro, what if Brawl Stars is just like completely tanks? Everybody stops playing it. All the views go away. Then what? What do I do then? Am I going to become... hey, now this is a Clash Mini channel, which I don't really, who knows if it's even going global, and it's an okay game, but, I don't know what I would do. And yeah, there's always a little bit of fear in the back of my mind that it could go away, and that would suck. But
have you noticed a downtrend at all? Because for a long time, it seemed like it was up in Brawl Stars, Have you noticed it kind of level off a little bit or go down or no?
So my video views have still remained fair. They're down a little bit from what they were, just from less people playing, but it's not. They've been relatively stable, honestly.
Yeah.
So it hasn't affected me too much, but there's definitely been a downward trend. I don't think it's been like significant or anything like that, but it has been slowly on decline. But definitely, I think the devs are. They just said on Frank put out a tweet where he was talking about they need to focus more on things that are fun in the game. Not just like, competitive stuff or whatever, but like just fun stuff for your casual player to get more people in. And I think that that's a good direction to go in. And I think that they can get some stuff in there that'll be generally fun for most players.
they've done a number of amazing, innovative things on the Brawl Stars side of things. I still think they might hold the record for the biggest premiere on YouTube.
Premiere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2
Over a
million,
million
I want to
people.
say, or
I think it was over 1 million.
over 1 million people tuned in for a premiere.
Live watching the premiere. It basically
Brawl
almost
Talk.
broke YouTube at the time too.
It's insane. So they talk about their victories, but they also talk about when people are upset. They have a lot of dialogue, you know. So that's really cool to see. You guys can see like some of the stuff in the background here. So I'm glad that I feel like you could always become an old, interview podcast dude like me and get like 5,000 views per video. You can always do that. And,
5,000 is better than 0.
You know what? It really is. And it's really, it's funny because when you're pulling the highest views, whatever that was for you on your channel, like per video, when you're pulling that as a content creator, you're always kind of worried that it will go down, and then inevitably it does. But then you think about it, whether you're pulling 100,000 views or literally 2,000 views, it's still 2,000 people watching you, tuning in to listen to you and
Could you
watch
imagine
you.
standing out in a field with 2,000 people gathered around you, staring at you, waiting for you to entertain them?
This video is going to have
I would literally just crap my pants right then and run away.
Right?
Done.
Imagine if you're like in the park down the street or whatever. They're like, okay, we're gonna wrangle in 104,000 people. That's how many people viewed your last video, right? We're gonna bring in 104,000 people. Like, to your point, you'd be like, oh my, you feel like, I don't know, you'd feel like a celeb. It's crazy. So I'm always grateful for that. You started YouTube 7 years ago, as I mentioned. What advice would you give yourself back then if you could? Like looking back, what do you know now that you didn't know then, if anything?
First off, I would say I wouldn't change much. I don't think that I would change much, because now there's things that I would probably tell myself, like maybe like leave my job earlier, my day job, and start YouTube. Devote more time to that before I did. But if you think back in your life, Ash, of all the times that you succeeded at something really big or you failed at something really big, which one did you learn more from?
Obviously, the right answer is the failures, but I try to learn from everything. But yeah, you're right. You do learn. Every time you mess up, you learn.
Yeah, I feel like that you learn more from failure than you do from success. And so I see YouTube as not so much like there's like 1 million subscribers isn't like the destination. I think the destination is the journey in YouTube. Like that's what it is. So I don't think that I would change that much, but I would tell myself to leave my job earlier and be prepared to work way harder than you ever thought you would ever need to work at anything.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned the work component of it. I blame you, Kairos, and OJ, honestly, bro. I blame you guys. I harbor a lot of resentment.
What have we done now?
I'll tell you what you've done. You've raised the damn bar so high. It's true, man. Like, it's not just the editing. I mean, it's easy to say it's just editing, but it's the editing, the storytelling, and kind of the thought that goes into one piece of content that you can tell. I can imagine that every time you hit the upload button, or at least a lot of times that you hit the upload button, you feel like it's something that you're like pretty proud of, or like excited for people to watch. And I gotta be real with you that I don't have, I've had that feeling, but it's probably 1 out of every 100 videos. Now, ironically, more recently in these conversations, I have that feeling, but I didn't have that for a long time. So I think that, did you cognitively decide when you went full time, all right, I'm just going to make the best videos I possibly can? Or was it like an evolving thing? Yeah.
No, Lex back then had no damn clue what he was doing. I literally so for reference, I mean, when I was doing the videos like that, my inspiration and, my frame of reference of what YouTube should be is guys like you and Chief Pat.
Oh, poor you.
And so, right. And so, like, what worked on YouTube then was like Let's Play stuff. You just turn on the camera.
I'm watching your second video of all time in the background right now, dude. You
just turn on the camera and you let your personality take over, right?
Yes.
You do your thing.
Yeah.
And that worked. Well, it got to be where, the Mr. Beasts of the world and the people who could tell really good, engaging, like Ryan Trahan, like they bring you along this journey, and everything started like changing to where it was more narrative based. And now if I were to record a Let's Play right now and upload it tomorrow, like if it happened to be a really good banger, it maybe might get like 100,000 views, maybe pop off, but it just, there's no guarantee that it would do well. probably more likely to get 70,000 views or something like that. I'd be disappointed with it. And so it's like, okay, the bar was definitely raised, and I don't think it was by me, Kairos and OJ. It was more like the entire YouTube scene. But I had to learn to adapt to like think, okay, there's got to be a story with this video. There's got to be some narration of like bringing you along a beginning, a middle, and an end to this video, or else it's just not going to hit the same, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to seem ordinary to people, and every video's got to be special. And that's probably the hardest part about the job now, is coming up with an idea that is unique, which there's almost no idea that's unique, and making it captivating for somebody to watch from beginning to end. And that's really tough, especially with a Brawl Stars audience that are that are on the young side.
Yeah. How do you relate to a young audience like that? I've always wondered, because I've never dealt with an audience that's as young as Brawl Stars personally. You know, I've always, not to say there's not old Brawl Stars players, obviously,
Sure,
but like the majority are quite a bit younger than certainly Clash of Clans, even Clash Royale. Do you change anything about your behavior, your persona, anything to relate to, you know, I don't know, 16-year-olds, whatever your average demo is?
Okay, you've been around me, Ash. You know that I'm just an idiot. That's just what I am. But I'm rather an introverted person by nature.
Same.
But when I'm around friends, close friends, I feel like I can let the dorky part of me come out, and I feel that way in front of the camera, like, because there's nobody here, nobody watching me.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have that freedom to be like that inner child in me. But to your question, dude, I don't know. You don't know how many times I've asked myself the exact same question, like, why have I even made it to where I am? Because I have definitely not the average gamer on YouTube. Like what other 45-year-old gamer that's playing mobile game? I don't know why. I don't know why people watch me. I have no idea. And the only thing that I can think of is that I'm just a goofy gamer at heart. And maybe a lot of my audiences feels the same way. They're just so they can relate to me on that aspect. But other than that, bro, I don't know.
Dude, you are authentic and unapologetic for your geeky gamerness, you know? And like, I think it's just like, I mean, not to oversimplify it, you know, but I think it's authenticity, you know? I think that if people get a sense that you're like putting on some weird show, you know, it's not going to resonate. But when you're authentic, no matter what you're like, I think there's a certain appeal to it, because I look at who I watch on YouTube, and a lot of different personalities, but they're all they all seem like who they are, you know? And you definitely come across that way too. And to your point, you put a lot into what you're putting out there, you know? I want to rewind a little bit to back to Kairos. I didn't want to forget about this, because before I asked you about the state of Brawl Stars, I saw this post on Reddit. I think someone tagged me on like X or Twitter or whatever. They were like, hey, did you see this by Kairos? I'm like, no, I didn't, but I'll check it out. And I'm like, okay, I don't really know what to say about it, but I thought that I would ask you, because there is kind of this post and there's a larger conversation around it. So I'm not going to read it, but I will link it for you guys. So Kairos is leaving the subreddit of Brawl Stars because of the heat that he's taking for being somewhat positive-ish about the update. Basically, it can seem like, this is not the case, but sometimes it can seem like a minority of comments as a content creator can feel like they just start mounting, and that people are mad at you from every angle, you know? And it seems like that's kind of what he's going through, because I did a little search and I couldn't find like a lot of hate on Kairos. Like, who could hate Kairos, first of all, right? I didn't see a lot of hate. I'm sure there is, though, because when you're a YouTuber, you see it, you know? And you don't forget it, you know? But then outside looking in, you're like, So anyway, he made this big post. Basically, it's toxic. It's kind of ruining his mental, and he's stepping away from the Reddit, from the subreddit, which he was a part of. You know, I want to get your take first, I guess, on as someone who's been super close to Kairos for years and years and years. What do you think of this?
I mean, it sucks, honestly, because I watched his video. It was a very long video. His honest update review, which, you know, if you guys are interested in Brawl Stars, either you probably already watched it or you should. But like, there's not everything in that video that I agree with him on. Like, there's some things that I definitely disagree with him on, but like, it's an opinion piece, right?
Welcome to life, right?
It's an opinion. You know, you can't walk through life and just get offended at everybody else's opinions if they don't jibe with what you think. Like, that's silly. That's, you know, That's not how the real world works. And for to spew that much hate on somebody, and there were a lot of comments and a lot of like people were memeing him pretty hard. Like to do that
Gotcha.
to somebody who was just speaking their mind, like, bro, grow up, you know?
Yeah.
He didn't deserve that. He was just saying what he thought. If you disagree with him, cool, say that you disagree with him. But to be that toxic, I think A, sucks, but B also is like, that's kind of like where internet culture has been for a while now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just, I hate that part of it because, you know, as a YouTuber, you dare not touch the held for review tab on your studio.
Oh, no.
You know what's in there.
Yeah, dude. YouTube has a tab held for review for potentially inappropriate comments that we can see and filter through or whatever. But yeah, man, I saw the most hateful, vile, awful things that you couldn't even imagine. Wishing, well, I'm not even gonna get into it. Who cares? Like, it's the internet, we know. But
right.
It does weigh on you.
I don't understand it though, how people, like, I can't get in the mindset of somebody who would go to a video, watch somebody that they don't know this person whatsoever.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some sort of weird parasocial thing going on for them, but they don't know this person. And then just say the most vile things, trying to tear apart somebody that they really don't even know, just because they didn't like this video that they didn't even have to click on, nor did they have to watch.
Over a game, no
it's
less.
Like,
you know?
It's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of person are you?
Why?
Is your life that bad that this is what makes you feel better, or what's going? I don't know. It's just weird.
Is it the anonymity of a computer screen or the keyboard?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a lack of parenting? Like, what do you think? Why is this so pervasive on the internet? Just it brings me down, man. I'm sure it does the same to you.
It has to be a lack of, or an anonymity thing, because you know, when we were growing up, Ash, if some dude were to walk up to you, you know, when you're out playing or something and say those things, there'd be a fist fight about to happen.
Oh yeah.
Like somebody would be getting punched in the face. Like that's just the way it was. But now you can say these things from the, you know, relative comfort of your home and just be like, and then just whatever. I hate it. I hate
it too, man. Like, I think listen, I mean, we wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for social media, YouTube, etc. Like all this, the internet, right? But as two old fogies here, man, like we both grew up without internet. We both grew up obviously without smartphones and all that stuff. And we are the not to sound so soapboxy about the whole damn thing, but I've said this before, and it boggles my mind. I don't think people can comprehend, people our age. We are the only people in the history of the world that we ever know of that will experience life with and without. You know, we're the only generation ever that will know what it's like to live, to exit your house and not have a map or a phone, or not have a map on your phone, you know, not have a phone. It's like walking out, like I think of the scene from like Beetlejuice where you just open the door and it's just desert, and also being comfortable with not knowing, right? Like you could watch a TV show or a movie back then and it's like, oh, that actor looks familiar. And it's like, oh, we'll never know. Like, or you could hear a song and be like, I wonder who sings that. I'll never know. You know, like there was so many things without just looking things up on Google in life that you just had to get comfortable with not knowing a lot.
Question, either you like asked your brother, like, yo, dude, what's this place in Egypt called? And they'd be like, oh, it's this. And either you believe him or you're going to have to like go to school, go into the library, find an encyclopedia and look it up.
Yep.
Or else, you just never know.
Yeah, it was that, like that to me, that never knowing is what nobody ever talks about. That to me is like the biggest, because what it did is, to your point, you call your brother, you'd ask people at school. It actually encouraged socialization, communication, dialogue, right? And now it's just like everybody knows everything, right? Oh, yeah. Knowledge is the great equalizer. And it's funny, we started this chat talking about money, and it's interesting because I think that money actually matters even a lot less now that everybody has all the information of collective humanity at the palm of their hands, you know, almost everybody, you know.
It's a bizarre thought.
It is a bizarre thought, man. Like, think about that. Think about somebody in our childhood who's like, hey, I can give you all the knowledge in the world on one device. Like, I wouldn't have never believed him, obviously.
Unless it is actually unknown, you can find it on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
That's mind-boggling.
I think there's something about, like, again, I'll get off my soapbox here after this point, but I think there's something about the lack of a hardship when it just comes to everything, all the amenities and the conveniences brought by technology, right? There's a lot of good stuff too, obviously, but I think there's something about the lack of just the friction in day-to-day life that there's got to be some sort of a correlation to just the absolute skyrocketing of depression and mental health, you know?
100%.
It's just
There
like,
has to be.
you know, it's weird because we have more than we ever had, but depression is higher than ever too. It's very interesting. It's fascinating to think about. How have you been like mentally? Have you ever had a period of stress? I feel like everybody I talk to has had a period of really down, like especially someone who goes from being very social to in a room recording videos on YouTube, like locked in a dungeon. How have you been mentally throughout your journey?
Okay, well maybe I'm gonna break the mold here. Is that
Yeah.
I've been fine, dude. Like I am perfectly fine, like sitting in silence in my studio, no sounds. I'm good. I don't think there's really ever been a period in my life where I would say that I was actually like depressed. I don't think
I
I've
love that,
ever
man.
I don't think I've ever felt that. Now there's definitely been times in my life where I'm like, holy crap, this is a really bad thing that I'm going through. But it's not like a depression kind of like
Yeah.
not like a clinical style of depression. It was just like, this is some heavy stuff or whatever, but no, I've been pretty good, honestly.
You have 7 kids. I mean, everybody says it all the time. I feel like I'm surprised I made it a half an hour almost into this chat without asking about your 7 kids, right? But do you think that actually having that many people who love you and love each other around you, maybe that's part of the reason that you haven't struggled so much?
Quite possibly. I mean, I think that it's always a cure for loneliness or a cure for feeling down to walk in and have your kids' eyes light up and run to you to give you a hug. I mean, you can't not feel better when that happens.
What age ranges are they?
My youngest, Tilly, is 8 years old, and my oldest, Faith, is 21. She just turned 21.
Okay. How do you, I mean, the obvious question, how in the heck do you juggle everything, man? I mean, like, the crazy thing is I want to ask you, how do you juggle YouTube and being a dad? But what I really want to ask actually is like, how do you juggle your time between 7 kids? Like, forget YouTube, like I have one and like, so how do
No, not well.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, not well. Like, cause you know how YouTube is, dude. Like the amount of work that you have to put in is absolutely insane. And so they definitely get the short end of the stick, I would say. But I have learned over the years that like kids don't really they care, and especially they think that they care. They want stuff, but really what they want more than anything, the thing that they'll remember more than anything isn't that toy that you bought them that they'll forget about in a week, but they'll remember the time that you spent with them. So I try to, whenever I'm around them, every night on the weekends, I will, if Tilly says, "Hey, Dad, let's go play," whatever it is that I'm about to go to, sure, let's go. Let's go do that. Because that's something that she will remember. She's not going to remember, "Hey, remember when I, got you that stuffed animal?"
Yeah,
they don't care.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I try to do that, but it's hard. I mean, it's really hard.
Yeah.
My wife picks up the bulk of that. So.
What do they think about you being a YouTuber? Obviously, I'm imagining they're all school age, and obviously, are you a big deal to any of them? Is it mind blowing to any of them? Do some of them not? Are some of them not proud about it and don't share it? Like, what is the array?
I think I got the full spectrum here.
Okay, all right.
Like, so my youngest, like Tilly, she's been in a lot of videos. She always and I never have any of my kids in a video unless they literally come to me and say, "Dad, let's go make a video." Because I never want to feel like I'm like exploiting them to get views or something like that. So she asks all the time. I have to tell her no a lot, but her friends and her think it's so cool. Like one of her little friends, his name's Blake. Like I guess he made a YouTube channel, and he's like, he even had her on his YouTube channel, like they were FaceTiming. Aww. And he's like, her dad's a really famous YouTuber, and they all think it's cool. And my 10-year-old, she like, I guess she got me in her school yearbook. Like they were asking for for famous relatives, and there's my daughter holding up a phone with my channel, and like she's got the coolest dad. She's got 1 million subscribers, and
that's cool.
On the other side, on the other side, my she's 18 now. My 18-year-old daughter, Kristana, She, she's not like embarrassed, but in a way, probably a little bit. She like she doesn't really tell anybody
She
about
doesn't lead with it. Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't.
Yeah.
That's one of the. She'll talk about it, but she's definitely not the one offering up that information.
Sure.
My oldest one was my very first subscriber ever. So
that's great. That's really cool though. I hope I only got one, man, so I hope he likes it. I hope that he likes it as
I
dad.
think he will, because so I saw a poll. This was really interesting. Like 30 years ago, they asked kids what they want to be when they grow up, and like number one answers are like doctor, policeman, firefighter, that kind of stuff. And now the number one answer is YouTuber. It is literally the most sought after job by children these days. And so he'll think it's cool. You're going to be the cool dad, Ash.
I can't wait, man.
Yes.
That's wild though. It speaks to the growth of the medium, the platform. Since we started, like, I don't feel like that was the case 7 years ago or whatever, 10 years ago, You mentioned Mr. Beast earlier, kind of like setting that bar on YouTube, and it wasn't just you and OJ and Kairos. Are you aware of the whole Jacksepticeye conversation around Mr. Beast and stuff? That he ruined YouTube? No?
Nope.
Do you think that Mr. Beast ruined YouTube at all?
That's a tough question. I don't really know. Like, in a way, yes, but in a way, no. I mean, I can see where he says that he's changed it so much, and in that way you could consider it ruined, I suppose. But in a way, if that's what the people want, then then who are we to say otherwise?
Yeah. To your point, there's so much good and there's some bad too. You can look at it either way. Yeah. But he also elevated the platform so much, for guys like us,
And they're also like, no matter what you're into, you can find it on YouTube. Yeah. Whether that's games or interviews or science, it's whatever. If you want to watch a video of some dude sitting in a room staring at a camera saying nothing, I guarantee you can find that video on YouTube.
Oh, 100%.
I guarantee you.
Anything. And that's
a thing that exists. So,
what do you watch on YouTube other than gaming related? Or is there one category that you're really into on YouTube?
Like, if you were to look at what YouTube's recommending to me right now, I guarantee you it'd be stuff like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Okay, same. Yeah.
Stuff like Vsauce.
A lot of space, a little psychology.
Yeah, I really like that stuff. It's very fascinating to me.
Same.
It's terrifying and fascinating at the same time. But then also, I do like some more of the mainstream stuff, like Ryan Trahan. I like his stuff because she's got a weird, quirky personality that I enjoy. Chess. I actually am into chess. I would love to see the chess thing come around. I was like, why didn't they get me?
I know, man. Did you see my chat with Anna Cramley?
I did. Yep.
She was great.
You're horrible. Yes, you're horrible, Ash.
I know.
But that's okay. You were just starting. You hadn't played.
I was just starting, but yeah, I did pretty well though.
Everybody's first time doing something, they're horrible at it.
Yes.
Of what it is.
But it was a blast though. She was the best, man. You guys should check out that interview. She was like,
she's really sweet,
cool and energetic and engaging and patient, which is a big one, That's really cool, man. You have this thing on your channel that you do that's interviewing the voice actors from Brawl Stars. Now, I have to admit, because I don't play Brawl Stars, I haven't played in a few years, I don't watch your videos normally, but I do watch all of those. I really love when you have the voice actors, because I love voice acting. Like, I'm not a voice actor myself, but I just love that you do that. What made you think to do that, man?
Oh, I wish I could say it just my massive brain came up with that. But no, it was actually, so I made a video. I don't remember what video it was, but one of the voice actors for Brawl Stars, a guy named Bill Russell, the voice actor for Bull, he commented on the video and he's like, "Hey, I'm the voice actor for Bull." And I was like, nah, this guy's just some random person lying about something, whatever. And so I started Googling and looked at him. I'm like, holy crap, this guy actually is the voice actor.
My God, that's
and he's
so
like,
cool.
He's like, we should do an interview. And I'm like, that's a brilliant idea, bro. Come on. And we did it. And it kind of took off from there. And those videos, I really enjoy doing them. They don't do as well, not nearly as well as they used to. And I think part of that is just, the game not as popular as it was before, but also long form interviews targeted at, kids that are younger in spectrum. Not going to do so well. No. Seeing that I've got kids. I know they got the attention span of a gnat. So you know, to ask them to sit down and watch 15 minutes of somebody talking about their life.
It must be why I love him so much, Lex. It must be why I love him so much, right? It's gonna be the age
so
thing.
yeah,
that's really cool though. Do you have a favorite of those, or do you not play favorites? Do you have a?
Well, yeah, no, they're all so completely different though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, from guys like Bill that has so much energy and like, you know, he's just really rambunctious and awesome, to guys like Billy Kometz who passed away, but like it just made you feel comfortable. Like the second talk to you, just one of those people that
what
you
did
talk
Billy
to
do?
and feel
what was his voice?
Colt. He did Colt.
Okay.
But he also like he was legit a star in the world of voiceover because he's done like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and stuff on Boruto and Demon Slayer. He was a really big anime voice actor. But I talked to him and it just instantly make you feel comfortable. To people like Maya Tuttle, who's really sweet, and Ed Mace, who's a kind person, to Brian Stavali, who you just want to go have a beer with. Like they're all so different. But if I had to pick one, just because he was the first one, and I have to say Bill, because the whole series would never be a thing without him.
That's amazing. I have him on the background. That's really sad to hear that he passed away. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here, man. Do you have a? It's funny. I was talking to Ferg, who is a like the largest shooter creator out there in mobile, right?
I love Ferg. Yeah,
I love that chat with him, man. It's like it's not the best for my audience because I'm sure most of them are Supercell oriented and stuff. But it was like one of my faves, like conversations, and he just kind of threw it out there. He was just like the top like 2 or 3 shooters, and I'm like, who's your Mount Rushmore of shooter content creators? So now I'm gonna ask you, man.
Okay.
Who's your Mount Rushmore of Supercell creators?
I mean, there's a couple that instantly just pop off the top of my head. Chief Pat has to be on that. He has to be. Go back a little bit further than that, Galadon. I feel like Galadon's got to be on there.
I need to get Gally on the pod.
Yeah. There's 4 people on Mount Rushmore, right? So
yes.
So yeah, I had to think about that one for a second. So yeah, Chief Pat, Galadon. I
got to think about my own answer here at the same time. Like I don't
Molt.
even.
I'd say Molt. I want to say the Molt Nick and Knight combo.
I was gonna say, yeah.
There's 2 people. Like if you could just let's mash them to one face and stick them on there, we'll do that because they were just iconic. Like it was just a whole nother level.
So true.
And then just to bring one more modern, I'd say OJ.
Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta include OJ. It's tough.
Yeah.
I almost look at you not as Nick and Molt, but the closest thing is Kairos and Lex. Because when you say the names in the same sentence like that, Kairos and Lex, Nick and Molt, I feel like you've made it as a duo. So I feel like you guys deserve a duo spot there too.
Well, thank you.
No problem. All right, one more controversial question before we let you go, man.
Controversial. I like it. Give it to me.
Yeah. So this is something that I've wondered about throughout the years. About how I feel about this. Like, am I complicit in this? And it's kind of a little bit of an off the wall question, but it's about when we were growing up. Again, going old man style. You bought a game and you owned the game, and that was it. It's still the way that a lot of obviously console and PC games operate. Not all, but a lot. Nowadays, you download the game for free, but then you can end up spending, instead of $50 or $60 to purchase it, you can end up spending thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars through microtransactions. Do you think these game developers, Supercell, obviously the one that we work with, do you think that that's a predatory business model?
It's a complicated question.
Tough, right? Yeah, it is.
Right, because with let's go old school again. If you were to buy, the Legend of Zelda Gold cartridge for your NES, you got the game, and that was the game. That was forever the game. That was it. Now, if you get a game, it develops. It changes over time. So you're not just buying one thing. You're buying. It almost be like the PC version of that would be like expansions, right? World of Warcraft. You're playing, Lich King, and then the next one, whatever it was that came out, because I didn't play it after that. It's a little bit different, but in some ways, I don't think that you can say no, because just like the way they do some of the offers in the shop and the way that their pricing models will change for people based on their actions, I really dislike that.
Yeah.
So in some ways, I think that you have to say yes, some of it is predatory.
Yeah.
In some ways, it's just like, no, it's just a different style of game that is not just one static game. It changes over time.
You're right. I would there's so many interesting angles to this conversation, right? I feel like I could give you a very succinct and great argument on both sides, right? That's how nuanced I feel like it is, right? Because on one hand, you could say, I'm just going to speak to it personally. Sometimes I don't have a lot of time, and I know you don't either, but I do have like some money a little bit, right? Because I'm older and whatever. I have a job and a kid and whatever. So I actually like the catch-up mechanic of being able to, you know, I'll drop $100 on this game and it will save me 100 hours, but I'll be right into the mid game or whatever, you know, I'll be right. I'll have what takes other people's hours and hours to grind and it also allows people who don't have any money to spend or don't want to spend any money on a mobile game to play it and enjoy it for free and put in a lot of time if they have the free time. So it actually gives a lot of autonomy to the user depending on what their lifestyle and their wants are. On the other side of things, to your point, it's like they could also just charge a monthly fee of a moderate $5, $10 fee, whatever it may be, and still make money that way to further develop the games. And to your point,
does the subscription model work anymore?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I don't know any games that do it, but to your point, back in my day, I played EverQuest and World of Warcraft, and I paid the subscription model, and it worked for them then, you know?
I mean, I liked it. Personally,
you can make so much more money now as a developer by not doing that, you know? So I guess they have the subscription model. It's called Pass. Game Pass,
you're right.
You know,
you know what, you're right.
But on the other side, you're right. It's and I feel a little guilty. Maybe it's my guilty conscience, just generally speaking. I'm like I generally like always psychoanalyze my actions and what I'm doing, what I'm putting out there in the world. And part of me feels like, you know, especially on my other channel, I cover Raid Shadow Legends, which I actually love the game. Like, it's very unpopular to say, but I actually love the game. The community, the creators, it's amazing. But they're incredibly predatory when it comes to all the things that you talked about. Like, spending habits, spending times. It's like the level of research they do into spending habits and to trying to get you at the right time with the right offer to get more money from you. It's awful. You know, it's awful. So I guess there's no easy answer to this one. I was in
Brawl Stars just the other day, and I bought an offer in the shop. I was streaming when it happened. Like, I bought an offer in the shop, and the second I bought the offer, a new offer appeared from nowhere. It's basically like, oh, hey, you bought that one? You're spending money,
Another one for you.
Check this out. And it's like, really?
Yeah.
Did you really just do that? It just felt kind of slimy, not gonna lie.
Yeah. It's an interesting conversation, but maybe I'm saying this because I'm biased, but like at the end of the day, I feel like, you know, it is the user's decision. And we both have thousands and thousands of viewers who don't spend money. So it's like, it's possible to actually come out winning in this model as well. You know, I don't know.
At the same time though, like, especially because I've got kids and I've experienced this myself.
Yeah.
Tilly, she somehow like got past the you have to put in your password to buy anything, and that kid spent $200 on Roblox one time, and I was so pissed off when I thought, I'm like, are you kidding me? Did you really just spend $200 on Roblox?
Yeah.
I got him to charge back, and they actually banned her for a week. But at the same time, of these offers, I'm like, yeah, it's their decision, but there's a lot of kids that play the game, and I know that, I know it's the parents' responsibility. To, you know, whatever. But at the same time, it does feel a little bit like an area where you're like, I don't know.
It doesn't sit right. It doesn't, like, at the end of the day, it just doesn't sit. I'd be very curious. I interviewed Ilka, like Pananon, like the CEO of Supercell. I should have asked him that, man. I should have just asked him. Like, I'd be very curious to know if the developers feel the same way as we do as creators, because I feel like we all play a little part in the, you know, if you want to look at it that way, you know, in the system that is. But I don't know. I guess I'm very much looking forward to seeing the comments on this particular topic, because I've never actually broached it ever on any of my channels, but it's something that I think about kind of a little bit, you know, you know, anyway.
I get that.
So, dude, listen, you've taken a lot of your time here recording on a Saturday evening. So I really, really appreciate you taking some time out, Lex. Wishing you the best of luck, not that you need it, on your content journey. And I can't wait to hopefully see you again in person. It's been a long time since pre-COVID. So we'd love to see you again. Thanks so much for taking the time, man. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
Absolutely, man.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Thank you for watching. And as always, take care, guys.